There was definitely a few moments in the game. I would love to see them increase how good the tutorial is. This thing, I had no clue what to do here. Like Dyson Swarm, both the game and the people in my chat were very bad at explaining what a Dyson Swarm was. Like no, like oh, fire this into the swarm. Like what is it? Bees? Is it like the aliens? Like the swarm of enemy ships? Like what do you mean? And finally, after making it, I was like, oh, the Dyson Swarm is just the solar sails. It's just 1,000 solar sails. That's it. It needs to just say that somewhere. So it was very poor at explaining that. I would like to see that. But this whole UI was extremely intimidating when I saw it. It wasn't that bad. I think what it needs is to have like a default sphere and be like, here's the standard blueprint, but if you would like to erase this and make one custom, you can. Because I had no, if I wasn't streaming this and I didn't have people in my chat when I was messing around with this, I would have had to go to Google and start looking things up. It did not on its own present well enough what to do. There's also a few other things in the game. For example, there's an upgrade in here I had to Google when I was off air. Let me see if I can find it. Right here, ray transmission efficiency. Minus 10% solar ray energy dissipation. Okay, so I do have that one receiver that receives the energy from the sails. Now my guess on this is it's either A, it makes my solar power plants better. B, it makes the solar stuff that comes from the sails and comes down to the ray receiver and give more power. Or C, it makes the ray receiver when it's set to make the antimatter photons, it makes it make more antimatter photons. Or all of the above, or B and C and not A. I'm not sure. So that needs a better explanation. I would just like to see them clean up the tooltip and explain that better for people who are playing this game in the future that are, just on their own and they're not with a community. I would love to see that be cleaned up a bit. I think most of the rest of this stuff was pretty clear. Planetary shield. Enhanced structure. I'm just looking through it again to see if there was anything else that didn't make much sense. Another thing, even right now, I'm kind of curious about, like, if I finish a Dyson Sphere section that can hold solar sails, do all the solar sails I already have launched drift into it, or only new ones? Like the old ones, like only new ones going forward will lock in, and the old ones will still have a timed life. That's another thing. Now, that's a small thing. Yeah, that's not being critical of the game. That's just me curious about that. Hang on a sec. Going to fly back home. I'm trying to think. In all time playing this, the fractionator confused me for a bit at start, but I kind of figured it out. Artificial star. Oh, that's right. I wanted to try the artificial star out. Let's go try the artificial star. Most of the rest of it was pretty good. Like I said, I couldn't help but compare it to Factorio because this game feels like they took Factorio and then they tried to, do it on many planets. I think they did a pretty good job of that. The flying around, the gas giants, oh, that reminds me of another thing. Let's say you want to make, I'm gonna make something up here, 4 solar power plants. So you've got 4 in your inventory and you click and drag until there's 5 highlights. The whole process will fail. It will only, if there's anything in it that will not work, it'll fail. So like if I do, let's see. Okay, here we go. This, I have 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Release mouse. It fails. So if you just drag a little too far, the whole thing fails. It should build all the ones you highlighted and just ignore that last one. So that's just kind of a stupid thing. I would like to see them change that. I think as far as game design goes, that's a dumb decision. Okay, artificial stars. I want to see what this does before we wrap it up, because the other stuff Yeah, I could do it a million more times to make the Dyson sphere, and I might off camera, but the other stuff we've seen. We've seen all that. All right, what is this? I'm just gonna drop this down. No fuel. What does it need? It doesn't say. Tap. It doesn't want anything I've got. Okay. Allows for the positive and negative proton beams to pass silently through the magnetic field from both ends into the constraint sphere. Nice and easy, simple but effective, and it's called the artificial sun. Durability, energy type, ion current, power, 72 megawatts, energy efficiency, 100%, made in an assembler, hand making a replicator. If all raw materials of this recipe are sprayed to proliferators, you gain either extra output or production. Okay, it doesn't say anywhere on the tooltip what it needs. I see chat is telling me antimatter rods. Great, they need to say on the tooltip what fuel it'll accept. Antimatter rods. Is it this guy? Oh my goodness. 12 antimatter. Okay, hang on. I've got antimatter. Oh god, can I not? You can only make it in the assembler. Oh man. All right. Hold on. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. All right, here we go. Hey, Muck, I know you haven't talked about much on stream, but do you think I should add mods to my playthrough of Kingmaker Wrath of the Righteous? I've heard some people say the tweak mods, at least for Kingmaker, are necessary to make it similar to Wrath of the Righteous. The only... I hate modding games. I do not like dealing with it, unless it's like a really friendly UI, like Curse Gaming on WoW or something. I despise messing with that. However, Kingmaker... In the end game of Kingmaker, there are many times you rest, you wake up, and you spend 2 minutes buffing, because you've got like 20 buffs you could do, and it would be suicide to play without them. And then you go play. I have heard of a mod that automates that process. I would consider doing that one. But I've never tried it. That's pretty. Artificial star. How much energy is it producing? Almost 50 megawatts. It says possible 72. Oh, maybe because I didn't like spray it. That's pretty neat. So, what did the, hold on. You've learned to control the Dyson sphere, this incredible power of 828MW, make its energy into antimatter fuel rods, and activate the first artificial star. Rotating elegantly and burning fiercely like the sun, it steadily transmits the massive energy and antimatter to the power grid. And what all did it take to make these? Titanium alloy, hydrogen, that's nothing. Antimatter, you get that infinitely, but it would slow you down. So the only thing is this. Processor and a particle combiner. But... and the titanium alloy, which is titanium and steel. So you'd be using up sulfuric acid, titanium ingots, steel, some other resources which are infinite, but you know, they would take time to come back. Interesting. It's pretty cool though. A lot of energy. So if you're playing and you keep expanding aggressively and you don't mind burning you know, the resources because you keep aggressively expanding and getting more and more and more, that's awesome. That is a ton of power. However, if you're playing a slower game, it might be better to do more stuff with resources that are infinite, such as solar, wind, and then once you get the hydrogen pumps on Jupiter set up, then you could do like this setup. That's just me thinking out loud. I haven't played the game enough to make a guide for this or anything. That's just my own suggestion to people like-minded. 10 artificial stars would power your entire planet factory. Yeah, that 50 megawatts is a freaking lot. That's almost a quarter of my total energy output right this second. Okay, yeah, that's My review of early access Dyson Sphere, it was a lot of fun. If it wasn't fun, I would not have been able to play almost 70 hours of it. I was hooked on it so much I was playing it a lot off stream. It is an enjoyable game. There's definitely, I think, different tiers of players. There's players who go into it just messing around, they're confused, they build a little bit, they build a lot. Maybe they make the whole sphere, maybe they make a copy paste that just conquers entire planets. I kind of enjoyed making little blueprints. I try to do it like modular, like, oh, I don't have enough titanium, I'll just take the titanium section and copy it. And it doesn't have to connect to a belt because drones. Unfortunately, oh, how could I forget to talk about that? The drones in the game were awesome up until they had like 10 jobs, then they just broke. So would love to see that fixed. In Factorio, the drones did not break. It's like if you told them to deliver to 15 different locations, they would evenly distribute between those. So, if you didn't have enough, it was obvious. It wouldn't just deliver to 12 and ignore 3 of them. That wasn't a thing, but that was a thing here. So, would love to see the drone AI get corrected, because they kind of just break down once you get too many of them, and then you're forced back into doing the other type of base design. The logistic bots? Yes, the logistic bots. So there was 3 tiers of the logistic bots. There was the little ones, there was the medium ones that could go only between the planetary bases, and then there was the ones that they were like ships that went between planets. I'm talking about the tier 1 bots. Once you had too many bots that had the same job, like, okay, let's say you had one box, like a huge box, and it had 1 billion iron plates in it. But then you had 10 places saying, bring us iron plates. The drones would do that, it's fine. But then you added an 11th one, a 12th one, those last 2 would just get ignored. Like anything, after you got to 9 or 10 locations, like deliveries for a resource, after that, they just ignored. Flat out 100% they would ignore them. So it just wasn't working out, and then I had to start okay, I need to do a bit of spaghetti to reduce the number of boxes. Because at that point I realized my modular strategy of like, this is a titanium section, I can just copy it, this is the blue science section, I can just copy it, that all fell apart when the drones all started, just going brain dead. If you want high throughput with those little drones, you have to have lots of single stack boxes of the same thing. The small fidget spinner bots of the newest edition and the Path AI could use some work. It feels like an artificial limitation to encourage higher tier towers. If so, that's unfortunate. Using that kind of stuff brings a lot of joy to the game for me. So again, I'm talking in circles now. I would love to see them fix it. If not, it would be it'd be the kind of thing where if, like, let's say in 6 months I get the urge to play a factory game again, and I'm like, oh, Dyson Sphere has broken drones, Factorio works fine. That's gonna make the decision for me. But that's a very niche thing, and I don't expect that that's going to affect tons of people, but that's what's in my head, so I just wanted to say that. All right, but yeah, and to the people watching this on YouTube later on, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. I'm absolutely interested in visiting this game again with all the knowledge I've now gained the next time they do an update for it and see what they add.